Greetings everybody, I'm Lobo and welcome to Luna. This is episode 105 of my Minecraft survival series, and currently I'm taxiing a villager from our farm district back over to the business district to Dunder Minecraft, where he's going to be starting his new job. That's right, we got a new librarian that we're bringing over there, and to get him there I'm having to break a ton of trapdoors. Don't worry, I'm going to come back and replace them. It's totally going to be worth it too, because this guy has excellent qualifications, which I will share with you momentarily. So occasionally between episodes, I like to do a bit of villager trading, and today I thought, let me see what some other villagers in our city have to offer other than the ones I normally trade with. Then I came across this guy right here. Now, he's just been kind of hanging out in the city. You might have seen him in previous episodes just kind of wandering around Senior Carrots' house, Senior Carrots being this guy's best friend. So, you know, we never really talked. We never really had anything to talk about, but, you know, I decided to say hi today, and this guy showed me what he had to offer, which was a Luck of the C3 book, which is, yeah, okay, it's kind of on the expensive side. That's not what I was looking for. What I was looking at over here, though, is the mending book for 10 emeralds. 10 emeralds! You, my friend, you just got yourself a job. He also has another Luck of the C3 book. I'm not too worried about that. He's got mending. Guys, he's got don't worry about them. They will warm up to you eventually. They're just a little in awe right now. But yeah, let me go ahead and fill out some paperwork for you. We'll get you situated, and yeah, I think you're gonna do great here. All right, the paperwork is all filled out, and we got a name tag made up for Danny here. So Danny, let me make sure this is actually Danny. You are my mending villager, correct? Before I go on? Yes, perfect. All right. So normally at this point, I would go around and introduce you to the rest of the office, but things are kind of hectic around here right now, and I'm afraid we need to get to work. Because, as you know, we will be updating soon, and when we do, things are going to change around here. Villagers are going to change dramatically. The way trades work is going to change. The way we do business here in Luna is going to change dramatically for good. So I think before we get to that point, what would be smart is for us to stock up on certain things. Now, I've been stocking up on emeralds. I think this would be a good opportunity to go ahead and stock up on mending books before we lose this chance, you know? Because, you know, I've been trying to keep myself in the dark on the update. I like to be surprised, but one thing that I've heard is that villagers are going to have, you know, a limited stock of items that they can trade per day. So it makes sense to me to get what we can while we can, you know? Oh, I dropped a... Hey, Danny, can you hang on? I bought too much. All right, that's fine. You know, I'll come back and pick it up. Let me put some stuff away. I'll be back. But yeah, you understand what I'm saying, right? So I think that is just about going to do it for us for mending books. Danny was great. He's a great addition to the team. I hope he sticks around. But yeah, we ended up getting a pretty good amount of books, more than I think we will ever really need in this world, and that was my goal, just to have some stockpiled in case like something really bad happens and we end up losing all our gear, you know? We want to be able to replenish our supply, basically. So yeah, we got a ton of mending books. Not all of these are from Danny. Like this first row right here, a lot of this stuff is from fishing early on in the series. But yeah, I think we're probably set for a while. We got 164 levels. I'm thinking we could actually probably use some of these mending books like right away, because we do have a pretty good amount of levels right now. So I'm thinking we go ahead and start spending them, because they're not doing any good for us where they are, you know? So I think the first thing we're going to do before we get around to making some new tools is actually repair the bow to Lobo right here, which is actually really cheap to repair. That's awesome. I will take one of these, thank you. And I've also gone and made up some tools that I want to get some enchantments on, so we're going to go ahead and bring them over to our enchanting table. First of all, get some good base enchants on these before bringing them over to the anvil, getting them all mendified and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and see what we can get for this guy. Efficiency 4, Unbreaking 3. That's not too shabby. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take all these guys through the enchanting table, through the enchanting process, and then I'll be back with you guys in a little bit, and we'll see... Oh, very nice, very nice. We'll see what we can get on all these, because there's a reason for it. It's almost as if I'm planning something. Almost. That's not a good sound. That's really not a good sound. All right, Cookie, where is he? Cookie's over here making creeper noises. I was looking for our Silk Touch villager, And Cookie's over here making creeper noises, so I think we might have an infestation over here in the House of Leaves somewhere. I see you. I see you. There you are. Yeah, this place gets kind of dangerous from time to time, which is why we have a steel door here. You need to go away. Oh man, yeah. These acacia trees, they're hazardous sometimes. Like, you know, you got these little spawning areas right here. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and make these non-spawnable until we cut them down. How's that sound? Sounds like a good plan to me. All right, so I think that's going to do it for us. We're down to 70 levels, but we got some good stuff here. We got Fortune Favors a Wolf 4, we've got Silk Paw 5 and Silk Paw 6, and down here we've got 2 diamond shovels. I haven't named these yet because I might add Silk Touch to them. It might be worth it for the Podzol, Coarse Dirt, and all that stuff, but I'm pretty happy with what we've got for right now, and we do have some levels to spare should we decide to come back in here and change those up a little bit, but the reason why I have these tools is I'll explain to you guys the reason in the morning because it's bedtime. All right, so the reason why I made some new tools is because we got some work to do in the Science District. Now, we have 2 unfinished districts in Luna, the Science District and the Waterside District. This is the Science District, and it's just a mess right now. I haven't really built anything over here because, you know, as I've explained before, I like to have a nice blank flat canvas to work on before I start my projects, and this is not flat. So what we're going to try to do here is I'm going to try to find a safe way down. There we go. What we're going to try to do here is flatten out the terrain, and most of it is going to be elevated like this. You know, we can kind of just cover up this whole area, torch spam it, cover it up, and we're good. But there are some areas where that's not really going to work, and one of those areas is right up this way. We actually have a pretty sizable mountain that we need to get rid of before we can actually do that. So if you come with me down this perimeter right here, which is designated by these smooth stone slabs, you can kind of see the general shape of the Science District, what it will be, which is basically a mirrored version of our farm district. So imagine the farm district. This is going to be roughly the same size and shape. It'll come over here to a point and then curve back in. So basically this mountain that we're walking through right now, this mountain, everything has to go. Everything. Which is going to be a pretty significant amount of work. That's why we need the extra tools and stuff like that, because the worst part about taking down mountains is breaking to do our mending and stuff like that. So the less mending we can do, the better. What is that noise? I don't like it. Oh, it's a bunny. That's just a bunny. All right, we can continue. One thing I did not consider, though, one thing I completely forgot about that slipped my mind is this place is it's covered in trees. So that kind of sets me back a little bit here. I don't want to spend all episode in this one spot. So what I think we're going to do is tackle this in multiple parts. Like we'll do all the grass and stuff like that. We'll get this area flattened out in a different episode, and we'll take down our mountain in a different episode. I think today, though, we want to focus on the trees and at least get all those out of the way. And that's going to make things much, much easier on us in the future when we do come back out here to do all the other work. So yeah, at this point, I think what we're going to go ahead and do is call Watchdog on out here, put on a little bit of music, and get to chopping. I should have probably made myself another axe. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. We've got a bunch of land cleared. We collected about 3 double chests worth of spruce, and I actually could have walked up quite a ways before stopping, but that's okay. That's okay. About midway through that, I did consider going through and making myself a new axe instead of mending this one. But the thing is, I don't really foresee us having to go through and chop down this many trees in one go again in the near future. So I think we're probably good for the time being. Another thing you may have noticed is that I didn't torch spam this area because I think before we do that, we might want to go through and collect some of this podzol and stuff like that. And one last thing you may have noticed is that I actually cleared out some land way beyond the bounds of our science district because we might be doing something over here in the near future as well. But let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing today. We recently got an interior to this place right here, but it kind of needs an exterior too. Now, unfortunately, once we get the exterior started, we're not going to have a real good way to get back and forth between our storage system aside from going through this gate. And the gate's fine for just like entering and exiting every now and then, but if we're running back and forth and this thing keeps closing behind us, yeah, it's going to make things fairly difficult and, just kind of annoying. So before we actually get started with today's building project, what I want to do is come up with a little contraption which is going to hold this gate open for us while we're working, kind of like a doorstop. So some real quick insight into how I plan on doing this is we're going to have this piston hooked up to a lever. So you can see right now it's retracted. That means that this circuit is incomplete, which means that only the bottom section of this is going to run. When we actually extend the piston, that's going to complete the circuit. And this actually is the section of our circuit that runs up to the top. So unless we actually do pull the lever and complete the circuit, the door's just not going to close, which is just what we want. And let's go ahead and test this thing out. So this is with the lever pulled, which means the door should close in just a few seconds. So let's make sure everything is still operational here, first of all, which it appears to be. All right, that's awesome. And now let's check out how our doorstop system works. So I put the lever back here over our crafting table so we can pull that. And now the circuit should be interrupted. So only the bottom half of this is going to work, which means the door should just open. And then it should not close again until we pull the lever and push the button once more. So yeah, that's going to make travel between our storage system and this place much, much easier. All right, yeah, I think we're good to get started then. The question is, how exactly do we get started with this building? Because it's kind of a weird shaped building, and there's a few things we need to consider. For instance, just how everything's going to transition together, because we got this weird section right here which is kind of protruding from the ground, right? And then we need to figure out a way to integrate this into our wall, which also goes up right here to house the redstone for the doorway or gateway, right? So what I've been thinking is that probably the easiest way to do this is not so much focus on the building itself, but focus on what we know actually needs to be done. What I mean by that is we already know that this is going to be integrated into our wall, right? Because this is going to transition out into our waterside district. So the easiest thing to do then would be to take this wall, which we already know what it looks like, and just kind of work it around here and then figure out how we're going to transition from there. Yeah? So yeah, that's the plan anyway. That's what I'm going to try to do. And since we already know what this looks like, and since you were with me when we built this together, I'm going to go ahead and get a section of this wall built in here, and then we can figure out together where to go from there. And jumping ahead a little bit, we got a little portion of the wall complete, enough to kind of build off of it. And that's exactly what I decided to do, actually, is kind of, more integrate the stairway portion of this building into the wall, maybe even the rest of it as well. I'm thinking that's our most likely option. It kind of makes things easier for us since we know what the wall looks like, right? But it's also going to help us transition from the science district into our wall and into the waterside district. I think we might want to change this up a little bit. Like right now I'm just getting the outline in, and I think what we're probably going to want to do is make this side more kind of a mirror of the other side. So let me get this out of the way real quick. And we'll kind of redraw this to even out our sections and give us a kind of smoother transition as we go across here, you know? So if we're looking at this block at the corner, we need to figure out where our corner is going to be on this side, and this seems as good a spot as any for that. And then from that, we would come back, I think it's 3? Yeah, 3. So we'll come back 3 just like this, and then chiseled stone brick on the end. And then we'll just kind of clean this up a little bit, get rid of these unnecessary blocks, kind of build up our pillars just like this. And once we do get this cleaned up, we'll take a step back and have a peek at it, see what it looks like, and decide if we want to continue with this. And if we do, then we should have a pretty good idea of where to go from there, because we're just continuing the wall that we already started building, and we know what the pattern is to build this exactly. So it should go fairly smoothly from here, provided we actually like what we're doing. And I think that will probably be the case, because we've been kind of doing similar stuff all around Luna, you know, just to kind of maintain a sense of cohesion. And I think that it's probably going to work here as well. So at this point, we've got the build more or less complete going up to the Welcome Center, aside from this hole in the ground, which we need to fix before working on the Welcome Center itself. So I think what I'm going to do for this is just kind of encase our redstone, make like a little gatehouse or something up here. It's not going to be super exciting. I really just want to hide the redstone. It's the only goal. So I'm going to go ahead and enclose this thing real quick, and then I'll be back with you and we can get back to work on our actual project. And as I said, we are going to be keeping this pretty simple because, yeah, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of room to work with here, so simple is pretty much all we can do. So we made this into like a little gatehouse where we can access our redstone. Basically, you can go down here, you can access the redstone down here, just like that. Or you can go up, and I thought this would be pretty neat little feature where you can actually go up and get into this little watchtower area up here. I need a floor in here still, so we'll go ahead and put that in. Of course, we're using half slabs right here. We have fence posts on top of these, just to make sure all the space up here is non-spawnable. Still a concern with every build is we want to make sure it's non-spawnable, because villagers will be roaming around. I'm not sure how many are going to be actually roaming around on top of our city wall, but it's a possibility that they may find themselves up here at some point. So let's go ahead and pop down and we'll see what this looks like from afar. We just need to make sure it fits in with the rest of this wall, which, yeah, I think it does. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. That actually works really well with our city wall. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Quick, easy project. Now it's back to work. It is back to the Wolfins Welcome Center, where it's pretty much decided at this point that I'm going to be trying to integrate this in with the rest of our wall as best I can, because that's what we've done so far, and that I think is what's going to work best. So went ahead and got my outline in here of where I'm going to start building up all my pillars and the different sections of this place. And yeah, the next step is to figure out how to actually do the pillars, because we got to make those work with the windows, which is going to be a little awkward. Because we can't just stack our pillars straight up like we have been doing with the rest of our wall, because that's going to pose a problem looking through the windows, because you'll be able to see it from the inside. That's the whole purpose of windows, right? So what I think we're going to have to do is kind of concave this a little bit, have it sink in. My manager, my supervisor's over there, he's like, yeah, that's what we're going to have to do, all right. So what we're going to do is just kind of space this in by 1 and build our pillar up in this corner in between the different sections of window. And that's going to allow us to have our pillar running up, but also allow us to maintain the shape that we want for this building. So if we pop this on out of here, and then if we pop on down here, we can see what that looks like. And yeah, I think we're going to roll with that. So let's continue to get this little concave wall around this entire structure. And once we've got that done, we'll go ahead and throw in a little bit of color over top of our windows, because we're using that Wolfins Laboratory color. We got the cyan terracotta down beneath our windows, and we got the lime terracotta up above it, and that kind of mixes in with our wall sections as well, which are over on this side. So now that we've got that done, we want to continue using this andesite to kind of border the top of this wall, much like we did with our city wall, because this is basically just a continuation of that design, wrapped around a smaller structure with some minor tweaks here and there to better complement the shape and size of this building, you know? And once we decided to run with that to make this like an integrated part of our city wall, yeah, things became so much easier, because we already knew what blocks would go where and how each section would generally be shaped. And that's kind of why I decided to do the same thing over here as well. Our little villager office in the back of our welcome center. Yeah, we're going to integrate that into our city wall as well. Have a little walkway that goes on top of it because it makes sense. Since these things are pretty much all connected to our city wall, it makes sense that they will look like our city wall as well. We might as well make them a part of it. Keeps things a little bit easier for us and makes them look more cohesive overall, you know? But now with our walls done, let's go ahead and shift focus to our roof because let's face it, you know, building the walls and stuff like that in the same style as our city walls, it might be a bit boring. So that's why we have this major feature here in a domed glass roof that we're going to be putting on top of this building. And I really want it to stand out. So we're not going to stick with the same layer of glass that we have on the inside to give us that impact on the outside, because the outside is going to need to be bigger. It's going to need to protrude a little bit more to actually stand out and give this build some life, because without that, this thing is just going to blend in with our city wall. It's going to get lost. It's going to be boring. So we do need to make an impact here. So with our 4 major supports now drawn in, I think we have a pretty good height for this thing. It's big enough to be very noticeable now, but not so big that it overpowers the build. At least I don't think so, or I hope not. We are going to need to fill in a pretty significant amount of glass, a whole nother layer on the outside to build this out, and we're also going to have to get in our other supports, northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest, and all that stuff. Because the supports are actually the main feature of this roof, despite it being like a domed glass roof. The supports are what actually give it shape. Otherwise, this would be just like a big, you know, blob of glass. The supports are in, the extra layer of glass is in, and I think we are pretty much done with the renovations to our roof. So let's go ahead and back up a little bit. We'll have a peek and see how it looks. Oh, yes. I like that. I like that. I think that adds a lot of presence to it. I don't know if I recorded like the clip showing what it looked like with just the interior layer of glass, but yeah, it was very underwhelming. I think this suits the build much better. I think it looks really good. Now, keep in mind, the build's not finished yet. There'll be landscaping. There'll probably be like some flower beds or gardens or something out here. But I think overall, this is pretty good so far, aside from those missing glass blocks. That's what I get for being lazy. That's what I get for thinking I could just do an extra layer on the outside and not fill the whole thing in. I am going to need to fix that. All right, so we got the missing glass blocks filled in for the most part. I don't think we missed any. It's looking good to me. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and call this project done for now. For now, because it's not 100% complete, you know? Even though the interior and the exterior is pretty much done, there's going to be room for landscaping and stuff like that, especially over here in these flat areas, you know? We're going to need to add some flora to this area to kind of bring these areas to life, add some detail to them, but we won't do that anytime soon because I like to have more builds in place before I start to work on landscaping and stuff like that, you know, just to kind of tie all different areas together. We are also going to be adding flora back here into our villager break area, which should be a nice little spot for our villager who's going to be sitting at our desk working to kind of come stretch his legs, relax every now and then, you know. We did accomplish a pretty good amount of stuff today though, guys. We got the Wolfins Welcome Center done. We also got some walls in place, and we got a pretty good amount of land cleared out over here, and we'll return this way again in the near future, kind of flatten out the landscape and make room for our own custom terrain. But I think this is what we're going to call it for today. So, if you have enjoyed today's episode, well, I guess I don't get to end today's episode where I wanted to, but that's okay. We'll just make our way up into the district. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. If you guys have enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to hit that little thumbs up button because that would mean a whole lot to me. And if you want to see more, please remember to subscribe. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Lobo, and I will see you guys later.